Welcome to the People Leaders Podcast, the audio resource for managers and business leaders creating high-performing teams. Join leadership and team development experts Jan and Michelle Turkelson each week as they explore both subjects from every angle. Through practical tips, valuable insights, and compelling interviews with leadership experts around the world, you'll learn how to bring out the best in your staff and how to give your best as a leader.
Hi Jan. Hello. All right, what we thought we'd do today is talk about extroversion as it relates to managers and leaders, and what is a way to just think about, is my preference for extroversion sometimes holding me back? Are there some strategies that I could employ more mindfully to make me more effective as a leader? And when we talk about extroversion in this context, we're talking about extroversion as it relates to the Myers-Briggs type. And of course, when we're talking about extroversion as it relates to the Myers-Briggs type, we're talking about how you gather energy and your orientation towards life. And of course, the extroverts are those people who express their views readily. They talk, then they think, then they talk. Sometimes they, talk over people. They're very rapid with their speech, very sort of, people, action, breadth oriented.
Yeah, they act things out. So what would be your first tip, Michelle?
So my first tip would probably be think about whether or not you're coming across as imposing or demanding, because what you might think is your passion and drive and interest in a subject or a person might come across as being imposing or demanding for another. Because when we think about people that we've worked with who have a preference for extroversion, they do tend to be louder, they do tend to talk more, they do tend to take up more verbal space than other people. So that would be something that I would ask for people with a preference for extroversion to do, is just notice whether or not you are coming across as imposing or demanding and tone it down a little bit.
And if you're in a leadership position, perhaps, you will always have that space and opportunity to speak before other people, and people may defer to you. So do you have a colleague or someone that you can actually get some feedback from when you do run a team meeting? The tip that I would give is listen consciously. And listening consciously does take a lot of will and practice. So most people are thinking about their response when people are speaking. So they've already conjured up, I've got to ask them about this, and they might interrupt. And notice if you are interrupting someone a lot, it means that you're not consciously listening. And consciously listening, a practice that you could have is that when someone is speaking, play back exactly what they're saying to you silently in your mind, and that way there is no opportunity to go off on another tangent or come up with a response quickly. And you will notice that you will gain so much more insight into what that person is thinking, where they're most confident, where they pause and perhaps they need a little bit of guidance. It is a really important masterful technique.
And There's one that I really like, Jan, and that is pause and wait for a response, because what us extroverts tend to do is we sort of fill up the silences with words, and sometimes they're not even not meaningful or relevant. We just have this uncomfortable feeling when there is silence. And however, in Susan Scott's book, Fierce Conversation, she refers to this principle called, let silence do the heavy lifting. And you would be surprised what comes out when you allow the silence just to roll on a little longer.
Yeah, we know that being coaches. And sometimes in order to give that person space, we'll have a pen in our hand. We might look down so to give them that opportunity to collect their thoughts and to create that space for them to open up. So it really is being okay with silence and the pause. And, perhaps set yourself a challenge that you will not be the first one to speak. We really need to consciously hold ourselves back, because us extroverts will talk and then we'll think and then talk. And we know that even if we talk, the world isn't going to open up and swallow us up. So even if we do put our foot in it, which we sometimes do, it is going to be okay. And so therefore that gives us permission to keep talking. So those 3 tips.
So let's just recap, Jan, the 3 tips One was, modify your behaviour to determine whether or not you're coming across as imposing or demanding.
Listen consciously.
That's right. And the other one was, pause and wait for a response. So they're our top 3 tips for people with a preference for extroversion. We hope you give them a go. We'd love your feedback. Let us know how you go.
Because they work. Yeah,
That's
they
right.
work.
Okay, bye for now.
See ya.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of the People Leaders Podcast. For show notes and other resources, please visit us at peopleleaderspodcast.com. And while you're there, you can subscribe for future episodes so you can continue your own leadership journey. And please be sure to share this and other episodes with your friends and colleagues. The People Leaders Podcast is brought to you by the Experts on Air Podcast Network.